Hello there. I thought I'd do a little video. If it encourages you, I'm pleased. I just read something this morning that encouraged me from the Bible, and it's interesting. Jesus has a couple of conversations after his resurrection, which reminded me of a verse in Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1 is really mainly wisdom, the voice of wisdom personified in this woman, and she sends out her invitation to anyone who would hear. She's like, come in and listen. I'll give you wisdom. I'll help you to live rightly. And it's an incredible thing. It's one of my favourite chapters in the Bible, Proverbs 1. You must read it. It's just beautiful. Anyway, she says in verse 23, she says, if you had turned at my reproof, if you and to be reproved is to be rebuked, told off. She says, if you listen when I tell you you're wrong, I would pour out my spirit on you and make my words known to you. And really, it's a promise from God. It's God's way of saying, look, if you would listen, if you listen to me, if you're willing to even be reproved, rebuked, told you're wrong, then I'll pour out my spirit on you. I'll make my words known to you. Now, we don't like being told that we're wrong, but if you want to know God, it kind of starts there. It starts with the discovery you were wrong before. And until you acknowledge that he is God, you were wrong. And unless we're willing to do this, we will never know God and we'll never really know wisdom. And so it's an important thing that he says, if you turn to my reproof, I will pour out my spirit on you. That means the person of God will come into our hearts, into our lives, so that we have fellowship, friendship, direct, dynamic communication and companionship of God with us in a way that he becomes your closest friend. And he said, I pour out my spirit on you and make my word known to you, my truth, my wisdom known to you. So it starts with acknowledging I was wrong and saying, okay, I will turn to your reproof. I'm not going to be offended by it. I'm going to humble myself under it. There's two ways you can go. When God speaks, even when I first start bringing God into this thing, you can go, oh, God. And that means you won't get anything from it. You won't gain any wisdom. If you say, okay, maybe I've got something to learn, then you get wisdom, because God says, he says, if we turn to his reproof, he'll pour out his spirit on us, make his word known to us. Now, the thing that struck me this morning was a bit when Jesus talks to these disciples after his resurrection. And it just struck me because he basically starts with rebuking them. He tells them off. He says, oh, foolish ones and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. I love it. Jesus isn't scared of telling people, you're foolish. He's had to say that to me many times. And he says, you're foolish. You didn't believe. At which point they're going to say, well, stuff you then. I don't want to know. Go away. You told me I'm foolish. How dare you? Off with you. But they don't. They linger. They're like, all right, yeah, I guess we are foolish. At which point it says that he made known his word to them. He interpreted to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. He made himself known to them. Also, they got fellowship with him. He says they urged him strongly to stay with us. And it says he went in to stay with them. So I just noticed you got those things that he has to rebuke them. They take it on board. And then he gives them his word. He makes known the scriptures. He pours out his spirit, his presence. He is with them. And then straight away afterwards, you see the same thing happening with the disciples. This is all from Luke chapter 24. And basically, he tells them off. After the resurrection, he says to them, why are you troubled? Why do doubts arise in your hearts? It's like, what are you doing? Believe me. Jesus rebukes us sometimes. Everything hangs on how you respond to his rebuke. If you take it on the chin, then you find eternal life. If you take offence, then you don't. And so he rebukes them. He says, why are you troubled? He's like, look, come on, guys. And he kind of challenges them. And then it says that he opened their minds to understand the scriptures, because they respond to his reproof. They don't turn away. They're like, okay. And he says that he opened their minds to understand the scriptures, and he refers to, I'm sending the promise of my Father upon you, which is the Spirit that was promised. So again, you got those three things you got in Proverbs 1:23. If you turn at my reproof, I'll make my word known to you. I'll pour out my Spirit on you. I want to know God. And that's where joy is found. That's where true satisfaction in life is found. It will happen, but it will happen only in as much as I'm willing to allow him to reproof and rebuke me and say, you were wrong. And for me to say, okay, yeah, I get that. He's God. He can say that. And if you don't let him say that, you'll never know him. And if you do, then he starts to make known his word and his presence, and your life bursts into life because you start to realize the wisdom of God is available and the person of God is available for friendship. But it all hinges on, will you take offense when he says you need him? Or will you take it on the chin? Will you say, okay, I need you? If you're willing to turn at his reproof, then you get the benefits of knowing him, his truth, and his presence in your life. That's what life is all about. That's what it's for. That's where joy is found. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Lots of love. Bye.